Isn't this the same CR, the same spending levels that you voted for in September, the same spending levels that you voted for in December? So what has changed? What's changed is you have President Trump in office rather than President Biden in office, because there's no other argument you can have here. They weren't willing to shut it down. They were okay with these numbers two other times, but this is in 2024. Now that Trump's in office, it's their hatred towards Trump that they're willing to shut down the government for. It's absurd. Why wouldn't they support the policies, the numbers that they voted for underneath Biden?
Do you think the government will shut down?
No, I think they cave in by Friday.
That's Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin stunning CNN host and female joker Kaitlan Collins by calling out the blatant hypocrisy of Democrats and their lackeys in establishment media over the looming government shutdown. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and it looks like the same people who melt down every time the government stops for a few days are suddenly changing their tune now that President Trump is in office. Here's Senator Mullin spelling out what's actually going on for clueless Kaitlan Collins.
For me, we have leftovers. This should have been taken care of October 1st. Chuck Schumer never brought a spending bill to the floor. He had every one of them by July 31st. He refused to hear one appropriation bill, not one. So now we have leftovers that we got to deal with from the Biden administration. How long do we deal with that? We're not going to balance the budget off of when we're 6 months into this to this FY25, which ends September 30th. At some point, we need to cut the umbilical cord from the Biden administration, say, okay, we can't deal with your mess anymore. We need to be looking to the policies and to the fiscal responsibility that Trump can bring. And so that's FY26. So the longer we deal with FY25, which is what we're doing right now, which should have already been taken care of, mind you, October 1st, the longer we do it, the more it distracts us from delivering what the American people wanted November 3rd.
Did Republicans get anything out of this?
Out of this? Not
because you're also voting for the same levels that Biden and Schumer.
Of course, I understand that completely, but I want to start focusing on Trump's policies. I want to quit dealing with Biden's policies. We can't. It's a distraction right now. Okay, let's go ahead, pass it. Let's fund it for the rest of the year. Start working on Trump's policies through Trump's appropriations with a Republican-led House and a Republican-led Senate with a Republican-led White House. Because that's where we can get change. You're not going to affect change halfway through a fiscal year already that the money was spent by Biden and that administration. We can make real change in FY26.
We'll see what that looks like.
You know, the funniest bit about the political hacks on CNN is how they're desperately trying to paint Republicans as hypocrites for voting for the CR bill, but will never pose similar questions to Democrats for opposing it, which frankly should tell you all you need to know about where their loyalties actually lie. Here's Collins attempting a similar shtick with Tim Burchett and failing 3 separate times.
I counted, and you have voted against at least 38 different federal budget resolutions in your time on the Hill. Why would you vote yes now?
There's actual cuts in there the first time.
It has nothing to do with the fact that if you vote no, it could shut the government down?
I voted to we've shut the government down multiple times.
But the margin is smaller this time. And if, right now there's one hard no vote, Thomas Massey. I don't know of any definite no's. And we see people go from hard no to yes, sometimes pretty quickly.
Very quick.
So why would you vote yes this time if typically you vote against something like this?
Because this is the first time since I've been in Congress that we've decreased the size of government, literally. And if you add interest in, it's even more. Inflation in, it's even more. But it's several billion. I think it's around $20 or $30 billion, but it's a start.
So it doesn't bother you that essentially what you would be voting for, though, are spending levels that were agreed to by President Biden and
Nancy Pelosi,
Chuck Schumer.
I don't like that one bit, but it is a reduction. And to shut the government down, I think just being politically, the Democrats would talk. They would. This shows the game of politics. The Democrats before, when we were shutting the government down, this is the worst thing that ever happened. It's the Republicans' fault. But now they're going to shut it down. They're not going to vote for the CR, which is almost at the same levels as they passed under Schumer and Pelosi. And now that it's on us, it's like, this is the worst thing in the world. And it's just a game back and forth. That's all it is.
I've got to say, I absolutely love the way Burchett always calls out these double standards whenever he does one of these biased interviews. I mean, after all, aren't Democrats the ones who act like the government is so essential to our everyday lives that the mere concept of shutting it down should terrify everyone? Aren't they the ones who did things like needlessly shut down parks and monuments so their puppets and legacy media could try try to stir up outrage? I mean, the fact of the matter here is that liberals only ever want the government to stay open so they can increase its size and influence while maintaining power. Meanwhile, conservatives only want it open so that President Trump can continue working to reduce those things. The two positions aren't remotely similar. But let me know what you think. How do you feel about government shutdowns? And do you think Democrats will ultimately cave to political pressure? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye.